Well, I appreciate you taking some time out of the day to just chat with us. I know I know you don't have a whole lot to do, hopefully,
No.
but appreciate you making time. Family's healthy. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's safe.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we're just going to jump right into this since we're late. So Emmy's story is a little bit different than some of the others that we've interviewed. She actually came in late to the club. I'd say it was her sophomore year.
Freshman to sophomore, summer. Yeah.
Yep. So you were going to be a 10th grader.
Mm-hmm.
You joined the club late. What made you finally kind of look at coming over to the Sounders?
It was kind of just like it was a last minute decision. It was right down to like the day of tryouts, basically. It has a really good reputation. I wanted to play college soccer, and that was something that the school, or like the club was known for. So, yeah.
When you say the club was known for, you mean player development? What
Player
exactly
development and like a really good reputation of getting kids to the schools they wanted to be at.
Mm-hmm.
And like getting them to play in college soccer, developing them to be able to do that. So,
well, it's going to be interesting to touch on that school you want to be at thing in a little bit, because again, your story is quite different than many.
Mm-hmm.
So when you came over, that was the first year I had taken the team back since U12.
Mm-hmm.
You were actually one of the last players picked. I'll share that with everybody.
That's
and it took you about, a year to work your way into a position where you were seeing more than the guaranteed half a game that we promise all players.
Mm-hmm.
So before we touch into, what happened in that situation, how was it? How difficult was it? What did you do to deal with the frustrations that came with playing because we played you all over the place. We played you in the back. We played you in the midfield. We played you in the front.
I played everywhere except for outside back.
Huh?
I played everywhere except outside back. Yeah.
How did you deal with maybe some of the questions you had in terms of why am I not playing in a specific position? What was your focus during that time?
I didn't really question things. It was more of like, okay, I see these players that are playing in the spots I'm playing at. It's more of like, what do I need to do to develop myself so I can be there? And then it finally came down to, like, I was working hard doing all those things, but it was like being confident in myself was the big thing. Like I was not confident. And so like it was our state cup semifinal and you needed someone to step up and body this one player that was being rough to some of our other players. And you were like, all right, Emmy, let's do this. And so I kind of just like stepped in, and then like having that place, like being able to like having a place on the team, like a role really like helped. And I was just confident from there on out.
Yeah. Just to share, we actually played Emmy, like I said, everywhere. We went into the state cup semifinal with a plan, found ourselves down 1-0, had to make some adjustments to try and get back in the game. We threw Emmy back at center back, which was not a position she had played a ton of. But like she said, she just kind of grabbed hold of the opportunity, and she never left that spot the next couple of years. She played very well in a pressure situation, and just kind of made the most of each opportunity in that position moving forward. So it's always about the way you respond to opportunity, right? As well as adversity.
Yeah.
Very good. What was it like having to wrap your mind around a new position? Because you came in as a midfielder, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What, 8, 10, 6, 8 or 10, right?
I was an 8 and 10. Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're a 4-5.
Yeah. It was really hard actually, because not having like a set spot, you weren't able to like focus on like things that needed to be done in those spots and really like improve them. So I think the one that was the most tricky for me was going back and forth from the 9 and the 4 and 5. That was really tricky for me, but it was just kind of like, it's not in your control. So you just have to do what you can.
Right.
Yeah.
With the workout, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Gang, as you have questions, For Emmy, if anything pops to mind, you can go ahead and ask them now, and we'll scroll back and get to the questions here in a little bit. Now, Emmy eventually ended up finding an opportunity to play collegiate soccer at the University of Idaho. She ended up playing, I think she started every game till you tore your pulled your hamstring, right? Late in the season. Played a majority of the minutes. I think you were second or third in the team in terms of minutes played as a freshman, but ended up transferring to Concordia just because it wasn't the right fit for you. You know, we talked to Cam on Monday about, you know, the whole entire experience being important in terms of college and college soccer. Let's just focus right now on the Concordia thing, because that's pretty dramatic. There was a lot of stress, I would imagine, looking for a new home and finally finding a place to play at Concordia University.
Yeah.
You packed up everything, moved, and 2 weeks after getting to Concordia, what happened?
They basically called us all in and I think this is the exact sentence they said. They said, like, Concordia has decided, the Board of Regents has decided that we're going to cease operations after this 2020 spring semester. And we were all like, what's that mean? Like, we weren't really sure what that was, like, what was actually going on. And then it just kind of like, the ball just got rolling and everything started happening all at once. We had so many meetings with, like, our compliance people, like, for the NCAA, to figure out all of that, because we're like, well, what's this going to do about our eligibility? And then, like, are we even allowed to talk to schools, because technically we're, like, out of school? And so it just, like, yeah, everything started moving, and then it was just busy. Yeah.
So I know this was stressful for your teammates who are all there as well, but I mean, you had just transferred from Idaho. You're there 2 weeks, excited, and then you find out you no longer have a home. We talk a lot about responding properly, focusing on the things you can control when we are in game. How did those life lessons kind of serve you as you had to deal with this situation? Because you're talking about 2 schools in 1 year. Now you're looking for a third.
Yeah. It's just like, that was something that was out of your control. So you had to focus on, like, what you could control, like reaching out to schools again. I reached out to schools that I was talking to, like, 2 weeks before, when I was still deciding if I wanted to go to Concordia. And, like, I think it was probably a little bit easier for me because I had recently just been talking to schools. So it was just kind of like recontacting and reaching out, like, basically the same college process over again, kind of.
And you just, for a third time.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, you never know which way is up.
Yeah.
You're now going to go to SPU, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, congratulations. As we touched on, you were a part of a very successful club team. Could you give us 3 things that you would point to as to reasons for that kind of success?
We were extremely committed. Like, I have never been with a group of girls that was, like, more committed to each other, to soccer, to bettering themselves, to bettering each other. And I think that was probably one of the base things, that and, like, our chemistry. Like, you could go off the field and talk to any single person. They were all my best friends. They're still all my best friends. Like, it was just, like, we worked hard and we worked for each other. I know Cammie G said that already.
Yeah.
And
well,
stuff,
it's true.
It's like the same thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. Gang, this is the last question. Mike's asked one, so if you have any other questions, I'm about to ask the last question, that is. Please start to type it in. Finally, what advice do you have for younger players trying to be the best possible soccer player they can be?
Just work hard. There's, like, things you control and there's things you can't control. Work on the things you can control. Be confident. That's huge. Like, if you have a bad game, like, don't let it sit on your conscience and, like, let it, like, keep happening. Just move forward and try and be better.
Okay, so touching on the be confident comment, that's not always easy.
No.
So do you have any suggestions maybe to a team, to individuals struggling with confidence, how team support can impact that? What are your thoughts?
I think team support was what helped me the most. I know, like, that when I ran out there on that field in that semifinal game, that everyone was like behind my back and they had my back, and that just like that's really reassuring,
Mm-hmm.
and that helps a lot. Yeah.
So what is the typical response when you guys make mistakes?
We always were just supportive. We're like, hey, just get it next time. Like, you'll get it next time. You'll be okay. Like, don't let
Right.
it
So
sit on your conscience. Yeah.
was there a lot of negativity in commentary during gameplay?
Never, never. If it was like,
Yeah.
if anything was like, if anyone would say something and it would have like a tone to it, it was never taken the wrong way. Because we all
Why
knew
is that?
like, because we all knew like we're just trying to like, we're playing, like some things just need to be said and they need to be said like sternly, and like, and so you just,
Competitive, right?
you just keep moving forward. Like, no one's out to get anyone on the team. We all are there for each other. We all want to win. So.
Okay, Mike has a question for you. How did your experience as a soccer player change you as a person?
I am definitely not the person I would be if it wasn't for soccer. Like, I have learned so many life lessons. So like, changing clubs was a really, really big decision, even though I made it like barely before I was supposed to make the decision. And I just wouldn't be the person, I wouldn't have the friends I have today. I wouldn't be the person I would to am today. I probably wouldn't have played at Idaho or be at Concordia and then now on to SPU.
So how did it impact you as a person? Do you have things you can point to in terms of personality change, confidence building, anything?
Definitely confidence. Because it was that first year that I joined, confidence was like a struggle for me.
Oh, she went off. There you go. Confidence was a struggle for you.
Now looking back, like, I questioned why I wasn't confident in any situation ever. So.
That's good. That's a good outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Mike had one more question. Let me find it. Anybody else have any other questions? Please ask. Emmy, how did you usually reach out to schools? Phone, text, email? What was your process like?
When I was in club, it was usually email, and then if they'd emailed back, we'd talk on the phone. And then this second time around, I just picked up the phone, and that was the same as this time. I just called them. So.
You mean when you were looking to transfer?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yep. Is it awkward and difficult to have those kinds of conversations at first?
No, well, yes, at first, yes. But then, like, it's just, you're both looking for one thing. Like, you're both just trying to figure out things about the school. The coach, like, wants you to come there. You're trying to find information about it.
Well, they're looking for players, and you're looking for a place to play. So it's just a conversation.
Yeah,
right?
it's just a conversation.
It is, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did you decide on going to SPU after Concordia?
That was, I had been choosing between SPU and Concordia when I chose Concordia in the first place a few months ago. And so it was kind of, because I knew for sure that would be a place I was going to be happy at. So I just like was like, well, I guess I'll just go here now. Like, there was no like bad decision I could make between those two schools. So I just decided to go with my option I didn't go with the first time.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin wants to know, when did you initially start the recruiting process? So there's a two-part question to that, really. When did you start, and when did you get serious about it? And what did it mean to get serious about it?
When I got serious about it, it was the summer going into my senior year. And it just meant that like I had actual options, and I was actually going on visits. That was when
Were you frustrated? Yeah, so everybody's process is different. The timing is different, all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of your teammates committed earlier. Others, like you, took a little while longer. Was that difficult to deal with, or even just a little bit?
I guess it was kind of frustrating, but I just had to keep in the back of my head that I started later than everyone. I switched clubs later. I wasn't the player that everyone was when I joined the club. I just had a later start than everyone else. But I'm still like, I got mostly the same opportunities, and I'm still super happy where I'm at. So,
Well, very good. Well, I think we're going to wrap up. I guess I do have one other question. There are many different levels of soccer to look at, schools, everything. Do you think, should somebody only focus on one level?
No, definitely
Why?
not. Because like you could play a D1 school could play a D2 school and they could beat them. I like for me, I think the difference between going D1 to D2 was D2 got a little bit more technical and like nitpicky about the little things. And that I actually really, really loved that. There were like you work on your first touch a lot more, at least the where for me. Like it was
Yeah, that's going to vary program to program. I know. I mean, you look
yeah,
at
yeah,
Stanford, right? Santa
yeah,
Clara, Gonzaga has some very technical
yeah,
players as
yeah.
well. So Chelsea Lee's looking at you right now, going, "What the heck, man?"
Probably. Probably.
But in terms of just looking, do you advise people just cast a wide net or focus on just their dream schools?
Wide net. Definitely wide net. It all comes down to where you are going to be happiest. Just because you get an offer at a big school doesn't always mean that you'll be happy there.
Right,
So.
Cammie and you both can attest to that, right? Cameron Gardner. Mike wants to know what it felt like to score your first goal in college, and it was actually a banger. That
It
was
was
a half volley from what, 30? Yeah, that was.
Yeah. It was really cool. It was so exciting. I'm not
And
gonna
you were
lie.
you playing center back at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was such a good feeling. It was so fun, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Super
All
rewarding.
right. Huh?
Super rewarding.
Good.
Yeah.
All that work you put in, paying off type thing. You work a lot of hours just for a single moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Did I ask the question about advice for younger players?
I think so. I said be confident.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. Well, I think that's it for now, Em. I appreciate you making time for us. I'll give you a call in a little bit, and we'll wrap up, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Talk to you later.
Thank you.